Chicken wings. Let me explain about eBay reselling and how it relates to actually thinking outside the box for you guys. Chicken wings used to be really worthless, right? They actually had to, they actually threw them away, put them in the soup. It wasn't something that they actually like had as the star meal. But in like the 1960s, they started to realize, well, actually, I kind of like it. And you put the sauce on it and blah, blah, blah. And it grew into an industry that's, over $1 billion. It looks like, I actually read something here that the average person eats about 290 wings a year. That seems to be a lot of wings for the average person, right? Anyway, the chicken wing used to be thrown away. And then people thought outside the box, say, hey, you know what? I think actually people will like this. And we're going to show you how this, relates to eBay reselling. Now, just for an example, okay, when you're out reselling, it's pretty easy nowadays. It's actually very easy. It's the easiest it's ever been. You have all this information at your fingertips. Now, like the last video I said, some of that sales data might be incorrect, right? People auction stuff, people sell stuff, buy it now or best offer, and they put it accepted, and then people cancel all the time, or people try to manipulate stuff, and you'll see that sales on eBay, and you'll be like, oh, well, that's worth that. And it might not be. But for the most part, I think you can put that data to use and be able to flip stuff. It's very easy. You go to like Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist, you look at local garage sales, you go to like retail stores and go to the clearance section, whatever, and you see an item that's listed for $10 and you say, wow, I can flip it for $35 on eBay, off Amazon, or wherever you're, actually selling. We are, exclusively putting stuff on eBay. So, for this example, I'm going to be using eBay. It's very easy nowadays, okay? It's very easy. But there are a lot of things that you might be overlooking, just like the chicken wing. You might be overlooking it, and you need to find the treasures, and it's going to really think outside the box. That's how you got to put to the next level, right? And how to scale this correctly, because, like I said, it's very easy for the average person. Just everybody has a phone, everybody can log on and find what stuff is. At that point, sourcing stuff, a lot of it's just how many hours you put into it, or just being there at the right place at the right time. Let me just give you some examples here of what stuff that you might have skipped over that might have actually had some value. Now, my industry, cards, trading cards, mostly Pokemon cards, something like this. You might look at this, it's just an empty box, right? Just an empty box. Actually has some value. A lot of people who might be going to, let's say you're going to a local garage sale and this is not your forte, Pokemon cards. You think it's loser, nerds who do this, all right? Don't care about it. And you see it, and there might be packs inside of like, wow, I can sell those packs and blah, blah, and you sell the packs, and then you get rid of the box, right? It's gone. Now, there are a lot of people who, like, for some reason, when we put an empty box, they get a little mad, right? Don't worry, guys. It's a carpet floor. It's fine. Oh, it's also my item, so I can just kind of do whatever I want with it. But there are a lot of people, actually, who don't want to spend, if this was sealed, guys, if this was a sealed product, had all the cards inside, this would be like a $10,000 to $15,000 item. A lot of people don't want to spend $10,000 to $15,000 on an item. They just want to display it on their shelf, just to look at it, or maybe they have a YouTube video or whatever, and have that as a nice display on the back. But they'll spend, depending on how the good condition is, what kind of box it actually is, people will spend, over $100, sometimes hundreds of dollars on an actual empty box, something that you might be skipping over. Keep it on the collectible scene. Video games. Someone might see like a beat up, it's like a black box original NES game, and the box is like torn in half and has mold damage. The cart is like absolutely, it's like run over, right? And it's like, this has no value. Look at the comps, and the person's asking about what it goes for on there. It's like, whatever. But then you look inside, and guess what? The manual, right? The manual, it's like in pristine condition. You're wondering, hey man, why is this manual? That's just kind of weird to me. Why is the manual in pristine condition? The guy says, oh yeah, I took it out, years ago when I was actually doing it, and I played the game, and it was a flood damage and the game got it, but I had the manual up on a shelf and I just found it and I put it in there. Don't realize there are a lot of people who sell very, very expensive games, get them graded, and they have the box, they have the actual cart, they have the manual, they have the insert, and the manual, everything has to come together to create a grade. So it's like the cart is rated, let's say, a 9.2 out of 10, and the box is rated a 9.4 out of 10, and they have the manual, and the manual is rated like a 6 out of 10. Well, that brings down the entire thing and really decreases its value. There are a lot of people out there who are trying to find very, very pristine manuals, and it's something that you might have just seen the whole item, as a whole, right, and be like, that's not really valuable to me. But there is value in there, in that one thing. It's not just the whole, it's the piece. Just to go off that, I watch a reseller, ADH or ADH Dave. He used to be called something else. I don't know. Resellers who watch his channel probably know who that is. But he was saying the same thing. He had a big box, like a game, that cost like $25 to sell on eBay. But he realized that there is a demand for actual just some of the pieces inside because people don't want to buy the whole game. They just want to replace the pieces. So he could sell a whole big box that probably costs who knows how much to ship it for 25, or he could break it down, get the actual just a few pieces that cost, only a few dollars to ship, and probably has a higher demand because people don't realize that it's an underserved market, and he could just sell that for 20. Now he's making $5 less, but is he? Because his demand might be higher to where he's going to sell it quicker, which is, time is money, get that money quick, be able to use that capital for something else. But also, it's easier to ship. It's cheaper to ship. It's like a win-win. All these things are thinking outside the box and be able to actually, bring your reselling game forward. You have to, because everybody has access at this point to a phone and be able to see what is this worth. You guys go to garage sales, right? And you see people, it's like, oh, what do you want for that? And then they look on eBay or they look on Amazon, they look, just Google it or whatever, and they say like, well, I want this because that's what it sells for online. Everybody seems to have access to that, so you have to start thinking outside the box. I'm just going to give you the last example. It's something that we are selling on our store this weekend, and it's something that kind of blew my mind at first because I didn't even think it was possible, and I guess everybody else on Earth didn't think it was possible too. Now, in the last video, I showed you like Pokemon sells, 10, $8 million a week or a month in PSA Pokemon. That is included. If you just put Pokemon, it's probably tens of millions of dollars. So there's a huge market, a lot of people flipping stuff, tens of thousands of items, 100,000 plus items that are sold on eBay every single month. So there are a lot of people that are looking for those ways to actually make a little money. There's a stamp box that was sold in 2021. It's basically a box that was, made in Japan exclusively for Pokemon. It has 2 promo cards inside, it has some decks and whatever. And people have graded, I think, almost 10,000 of those cards. You can buy the box for $500. You can grade the cards. You can get 10s. You can sell it for a couple $100 more. A great flip for people who know how to grade and buy that stuff. But the biggest thing is that they actually also come with stamps, and these stamps are actually pretty unique. They have a holographic stamp of Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, as well as the Pikachu and Cramorant. Awesome. I got it and I didn't even know that was in there. And I looked at the cards, and that's what actually caught my eye. I was like, wow, this is actually really, really cool. But I got a consignment in, like literally like the next week, and someone actually graded those stamps, which was like, wait a minute, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I looked at the population report, which you guys don't know, that means how many of these have actually been graded. He graded all of them. He's the only one. He is the only one. And I can make that, I'm not like, divulging a play because it will be on our eBay store in a couple days, so everybody's gonna see that who actually goes on eBay and knows that kind of thing. And it came out in 2021. It is towards the end of 2023. In 2 years, nobody had thought of that. Nobody. One guy had thought of that, and he's graded all of them. And I'm sure when this actually, now there's no sales data because it's never been sold. Who knows? Might sell this at auction and they go for less than a grading fee, so it makes no sense to grade it. Or it could go for many times a grading fee, and all of a sudden, remember, 10,000 of these cards have been graded. That means there are a lot of these stamps that need to be, if there's value there, people will grade them. And I've actually asked a few people who actually have submitted a lot of those cards that get graded, and they say I'm like, do you have these stamps? And a couple of them were like, one guy who had quite a few, and he's like, oh yeah, they're just on a shelf in the corner. Like I don't even think about them. We'll see what happens. This is thinking outside the box. Just like I said before, with the boxes, with like a manual in a game, with, you have a game and put the pieces. This is the stuff that really, as a reseller, as a flipper, will kind of start to put you ahead of the game. Now, the biggest thing with reselling are other things like just being able to source big collections and sell them for, a max profit. But these are the little things that really add up, thinking outside the box and how to actually create the most value out of what you have. Anyway, I thought I'd like, to hear those few stories that I had and, just start with the chicken wing. It was worthless. Now it's $1 billion a year. 290 wings a year. That seems like a lot. Seems like a lot. I don't know. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.